My beloved child. Before your thoughts wander somewhere else, remain here for just a little while. There is a quiet reason these words have found you today, and something meaningful is waiting to unfold one gentle moment at a time. Don't skip, because what seems ordinary at first may become the answer your heart has been trying to recognize without even knowing it. There is someone whose feelings for you have grown in silence, not because they are uncertain about your worth, but because love has asked them to face something within themselves before they can fully reach for you. They have smiled when your name appeared unexpectedly. They have replayed simple conversations long after they ended. They have noticed details about you that others passed by without a second glance. Yet one quiet thought continues to return whenever they imagine standing beside you. It is not the kind of thought you may expect. It is not born from judgment. It is not born from pride. It is born from a heart that is still learning how to see beauty without measuring it against old expectations. Stay till the end, because this delicate truth deserves patience. Long before they ever knew you, they quietly built an image inside their mind of what love would look like. They never realized they were doing it. Every story they heard, every photograph they admired, every passing opinion they accepted without questioning slowly painted a picture that felt complete. Then you arrived. You did not match every line of that picture. And suddenly, they discovered something surprising. Their heart recognized you before their expectations did. That is why they sometimes appear confident one day and strangely thoughtful the next. It is not because their feelings disappear. It is because their heart keeps moving ahead while their old ideas struggle to catch up. Listen carefully. There is something remarkable about genuine affection. Real love rarely begins where everything is perfect. Instead, it quietly teaches two people to see beyond what they once believed mattered most. This person has found themselves noticing the smallest parts of you. The way your expression changes when you become excited. The warmth in your voice when you speak about something close to your heart. The peaceful moments when you stop trying to impress anyone. The kindness you offer without expecting recognition. These moments have become impossible for them to ignore. Yet every so often, another quiet voice whispers inside them. Is this different from what I imagined? That question has never been about your value. It has always been about their growth. Something important is waiting for you. Many people believe attraction is immediate and effortless. But lasting love often asks people to release expectations they never realized they carried. That is exactly where this person finds themselves today. They are standing between familiarity and transformation. Between old ideas and a new reality that feels more beautiful every single day. You may have wondered why their eyes sometimes linger for a second longer than expected. Why they occasionally become quiet after looking at you. Why they seem deeply present one moment and lost in thought the next. Those moments are not empty. They are conversations taking place inside a heart that is slowly choosing authenticity over appearance. Without realizing it, you have already changed them. Not because you tried. Not because you asked. But simply because you remained yourself. That quiet confidence carries more strength than you know. There is another truth you have not yet seen. Each time they remember your laughter, the picture they once believed was perfect becomes a little less important. Each meaningful conversation gently reshapes what beauty means to them. Each memory softens another expectation they once held too tightly. transformation rarely happens all at once. It happens one realization at a time. One smile. One conversation. One shared silence. One unexpected moment where they suddenly understand that peace is more attractive than perfection. Don't skip. There is still another layer beneath this story. You may have spent moments wondering whether something about your appearance has made people hesitate before truly knowing you. If those thoughts have ever crossed your mind, hear this carefully. Your appearance has never been the whole story. The people meant to recognize your heart eventually discover that what first caught their attention becomes far less important than what continues to hold it. This person is beginning to understand exactly that. Their admiration is changing shape. It is becoming quieter, steadier, more genuine. They are no longer asking themselves whether you fit an old image. Instead, another question has started replacing it. What if this is exactly the kind of person I was always meant to find? That question changes everything. Because once it appears, old expectations slowly lose their voice. Yet there remains one final hesitation inside them. Not about whether they care. Not about whether you matter. But whether they are ready to admit how completely their heart has already chosen someone who challenged everything they once believed about attraction. That admission has not fully reached their lips. But it is becoming harder for them to hide from it. As this quiet journey continues, another unexpected realization is waiting just beyond today's moment. And when it finally surfaces, both of your hearts may begin seeing the same truth at exactly the same time. There are moments when silence carries more meaning than words ever could. This is one of those moments. Before another thought pulls your attention away, stay here a little longer, because the story has only just begun to reveal its deepest layer. What has been quietly unfolding inside this person's heart is far more tender than it first appeared. They never expected one simple detail about you to challenge everything they believed they understood about attraction. It wasn't because that detail was wrong. It wasn't because it made you less worthy. It simply didn't fit the picture they had unconsciously carried for years. But something unexpected happened the longer they remained close to you. The picture started fading. You did not change. Their heart did. At first, they tried not to notice it. They convinced themselves they simply admired your personality. They told themselves they enjoyed your conversations because you were kind, thoughtful, and genuine. Yet every time they walked away from you, something unusual happened. Instead of remembering only your words, they remembered your presence. The way peace seemed to settle around ordinary moments. The comfort of hearing your voice. The quiet confidence you carried without asking anyone to approve of it. That realization unsettled them. Not because it frightened them, but because it asked them to become someone different. Stay till the end, because another truth is waiting quietly behind this one. There was an evening when they found themselves thinking about you without any reason at all. They were busy, surrounded by responsibilities, yet your smile appeared in their thoughts with surprising clarity. They paused and asked themselves why. They searched for a logical explanation, but none of the usual answers felt complete. It wasn't just attraction anymore. It wasn't just curiosity. It had become comfort. And comfort is difficult to ignore. The more they reflected, the more they realized something extraordinary. The very feature they once questioned had slowly become part of what made you unforgettable. They could no longer imagine your face without it. They could no longer separate your appearance from the warmth they felt whenever they thought of you. That is how genuine affection quietly transforms perception. It doesn't force change. It invites it. Little by little. Moment by moment. Without announcing itself. Don't skip. This next realization has been growing inside them for longer than they realize. Sometimes they compare old memories with new ones. They remember how they first noticed you. Then they remember how they see you now. Those two memories no longer look the same. The difference isn't found in your appearance. The difference is found in their heart. Where they once searched for perfection, they now search for peace. Where they once noticed differences, they now notice familiarity. Where they once questioned, they now wonder how they ever questioned at all. That quiet shift has surprised even them. There are days when they catch themselves smiling while remembering something completely ordinary about you. A glance. A laugh. A thoughtful pause before answering a question. None of these moments would seem extraordinary to anyone else, yet together they have become impossible for this person to forget. Something important is waiting for you. Love rarely announces the exact moment it becomes real. Instead, it gathers gently like morning light. At first, everything still seems dim. Then suddenly, without realizing when it happened, the whole landscape is illuminated. That is where this person's heart stands now. They are beginning to see you with clearer eyes than ever before. Not the eyes shaped by old expectations. Not the eyes influenced by passing opinions. But eyes softened by genuine connection. Even so, one quiet hesitation remains. It has nothing to do with your appearance anymore. It has everything to do with themselves. They wonder whether you would believe them if they admitted how much they have changed. They wonder whether you noticed their uncertainty in earlier moments. They wonder whether it is already too late to explain what was happening inside them while they were still learning. Those questions linger gently in their heart. Not because they expect easy answers. Because they hope understanding is still possible. If only you could see the conversations they have with themselves when no one else is around. They replay small memories, searching for the exact moment everything shifted. They try to identify the day your presence became something they looked forward to rather than something they simply appreciated. The answer always escapes them. Because there wasn't one moment. There were hundreds. Tiny moments. Quiet moments. Almost invisible moments. Each one gently building a feeling too deep to ignore. Perhaps that is why they have become more thoughtful lately. You may notice longer pauses before they speak. You may notice the softness in the way they look at you when they think you aren't paying attention. Those are not accidents. Those are glimpses of a heart slowly accepting what it once resisted. And the most beautiful part is still ahead. Because the struggle is no longer about your appearance. The struggle is about finding the courage to let go of every expectation that once kept them from fully embracing what has been right in front of them all along. That courage is growing. Quietly. Patiently. With every passing day. And very soon, another realization will rise within them. One so simple, yet so powerful, that it may finally give them the confidence to express what their heart has been trying to say long before their words were ready. A quiet change is taking place even now, though neither of you can fully see it yet. Sometimes the most meaningful transformations happen without applause, without dramatic moments, and without anyone realizing that an entirely new chapter has already begun. Stay with these words a little longer, because what is unfolding now reaches deeper than appearance. It reaches the place where lasting affection quietly takes root. This person has started noticing something they never expected. Whenever they imagine their future, your face appears naturally. Not because they force the thought, but because it arrives on its own. They picture ordinary mornings, peaceful conversations, shared laughter over simple things, and moments where neither of you needs to pretend to be anyone else. Those quiet images have become stronger than the old expectations they once held. That realization surprised them. They thought love would begin with certainty. Instead, it began with questions. They thought admiration would depend on perfection. Instead, it grew through authenticity. And now they find themselves standing in a place they never planned to reach. Don't skip, because another layer is about to reveal itself. There was a time when they wondered whether other people would understand their feelings. They imagined opinions, assumptions, and expectations that never truly belonged to them. For a little while, those imagined voices became louder than their own heart. But something remarkable happened. Each time they listened to those outside voices, they felt further away from peace. Each time they listened to their own heart, they felt closer to you. Slowly, almost without noticing, they began trusting the quiet voice within instead of the louder voices around them. That is not an easy journey. It asks a person to release approval. It asks them to stop comparing. It asks them to choose what feels genuine over what merely looks familiar. This person is learning to do exactly that. Something important is waiting for you. There is one memory they return to more often than they admit. It wasn't an extraordinary day. Nothing dramatic happened. Perhaps you simply smiled without realizing they were watching. Perhaps you spoke with kindness when no one expected it. Perhaps you laughed freely, forgetting the world for a moment. Whatever happened, that memory became the turning point they never recognized at the time. When they revisit it now, they no longer focus on the feature they once questioned. Instead, they remember how peaceful they felt standing near you. Peace has quietly replaced comparison. Connection has quietly replaced expectation. Understanding has quietly replaced uncertainty. And with each passing day, those changes become impossible to reverse. You may have sensed something shifting between you without knowing why. Perhaps conversations feel warmer. Perhaps eye contact lasts just a little longer. Perhaps silence no longer feels uncomfortable. These are small things. Yet small things often reveal the deepest truths. Stay till the end. The next realization is one they have not shared with anyone. There are moments when they catch themselves wondering how they ever overlooked what now feels so obvious. They ask themselves why they spent so much time measuring appearances when the qualities they truly needed had been quietly standing before them all along. They don't feel regret toward you. They feel regret toward the old version of themselves. Because that version almost missed someone extraordinary. That thought humbles them. It softens them. It reminds them that love is not about finding someone who matches an imagined picture. It is about discovering someone whose presence makes every imagined picture seem unnecessary. That is exactly what has begun happening inside them. Little by little, they are no longer remembering your appearance first. They remember how safe they feel with you. They remember your patience. Your sincerity. Your quiet strength. Your ability to make ordinary moments feel meaningful. Those memories have become the first thing their heart reaches for. And once a heart begins remembering someone that way, it becomes very difficult to return to the way things were before. Don't rush past this moment. There is one final piece you have not yet seen. Sometimes they wonder if you still carry quiet insecurities about yourself. They hope you don't. Because if only you could see yourself through their eyes today, you might notice something entirely different from what you have imagined. You might see warmth instead of flaws. Comfort instead of comparison. Light instead of limitation. Not because you changed overnight, but because genuine affection has completely reshaped the way they see you. The feature they once struggled to understand has become part of the uniqueness they now treasure. Without it, you simply wouldn't feel like you. That realization has settled gently into their heart. And once it settled there, it refused to leave. Yet there is still one conversation they continue rehearsing in silence. A conversation where they finally admit that the journey was never about changing you. It was always about changing themselves. They are closer to speaking those words than ever before. The hesitation is fading. The understanding is growing. The affection is becoming steadier. And the next step in this quiet story will reveal what finally gives them the courage to stop hiding behind silence and begin showing you what has been true in their heart all along. Not every turning point announces itself with loud words. Sometimes it arrives through one quiet realization that changes everything afterward. This is one of those moments. Stay here a little longer, because the heart of this story is only now beginning to reveal itself. This person has stopped asking, "Why am I feeling this way?" Now they ask something entirely different. What if I have been looking at love through the wrong lens all along? That single question has opened a door they never expected to find. For so long, they believed attraction was supposed to remain exactly as it appeared in the beginning. They thought first impressions should decide everything that followed. But you have gently rewritten that belief without ever trying. The more they came to know you, the less they remembered the expectations they once carried. The more they understood your heart, the less those old ideas mattered. And one day, almost without warning, they realized they had gone hours thinking about you without once thinking about the feature they had once questioned. Instead, they remembered your kindness. Your patience. The calm feeling that seemed to follow wherever you went. That realization lingered with them long after the day had ended. Don't skip. There is something beautifully unexpected waiting just ahead. Recently, they found themselves looking through old photographs. Not because they were searching for anything in particular, but because memories have a quiet way of calling us back. As they paused on one picture of you, they noticed something unusual. Months ago, they would have focused on the details they once compared. Now, they simply smiled. Not because the photograph had changed. Because they had. For a long moment, they stared at that image with a peaceful heart. There was no hesitation. No quiet debate. Only gratitude that someone so genuine had entered their life. It was then they understood something that words struggle to explain. Beauty grows wherever affection is allowed to deepen. It is not fixed. It is not limited. It quietly expands every time understanding replaces assumption. Something important is waiting for you. You may not realize how often your authenticity has inspired this person. When others tried to impress, you remained sincere. When others chased attention, you remained grounded. When others wore masks, you stayed true to yourself. At first, they admired those qualities. Now they depend on them. Because in a world filled with performances, your honesty feels like home. That feeling has become impossible for them to replace. There is another quiet secret resting inside their heart. Sometimes they imagine introducing you to the people they care about most. Not because they need anyone's approval, but because they secretly hope others will see what they now see. They hope someone else will notice the kindness hidden in your smallest gestures. The warmth behind your smile. The quiet confidence that never asks for recognition. They want others to understand why your presence has become so meaningful. Then something unexpected happens. They realize they no longer need anyone else to understand. Their own heart already does. Stay till the end. The next realization may be the one that changes everything. There was once a fear inside them that choosing someone different from their old expectations meant they were settling. Today, they can hardly believe they ever thought that way. Because now they understand the opposite is true. Settling would have meant ignoring the peace they found with you. Settling would have meant choosing familiarity over authenticity. Settling would have meant walking away from someone who quietly brought out the best version of them. You never asked them to change. Yet somehow, they have become more patient, more thoughtful, more compassionate, more willing to see people beyond appearances. That is the quiet influence you have had on their life. Without speeches. Without persuasion. Simply by being yourself. Don't rush away just yet. There is one more truth they have finally begun to accept. The feature they once struggled to understand has become something they protect in their heart. Not because it suddenly became different. Because it reminds them of the lesson that changed them forever. Whenever they see it now, they no longer remember uncertainty. They remember growth. They remember humility. They remember the moment they realized love is not about finding someone who fits an imaginary picture. It is about discovering someone whose presence quietly reshapes your entire definition of beauty. That discovery has filled them with an unexpected sense of peace. The struggle that once felt so loud has become almost silent. Not because they forced it away. Because genuine affection gently outgrew it. And now another quiet feeling has begun taking its place. Hope. Hope that one day they will find the right words. Hope that when they finally speak honestly, you will understand the journey their heart has taken. Hope that you will see it was never about asking you to become someone else. It was always about learning to appreciate the wonderful person who had been standing before them from the very beginning. That hope grows stronger with every passing day. And before long, one unexpected moment, so ordinary that most people would overlook it, will give them the courage they have been quietly waiting for, revealing a truth they have carried in silence far longer than anyone realizes. There comes a moment when the heart grows tired of hiding from what it already knows. It does not happen suddenly. It arrives softly, like the first light before sunrise, almost unnoticed until everything around it begins to glow differently. Stay with these words a little longer, because this quiet turning point has been waiting for its moment. Over the past few days, this person has caught themselves doing something they never used to do. They no longer imagine changing anything about you. Instead, they imagine protecting the peace they feel whenever you are near. That difference may sound small. But inside the heart, it changes everything. Once, they wondered whether one part of your appearance would always remain a question in their mind. Now, they wonder how they ever allowed such a small thought to stand between them and someone whose heart feels so genuine. That question has followed them into quiet evenings and peaceful mornings. Each time it returns, the answer becomes clearer. You were never the one who needed to change. They simply needed to learn how to see with greater honesty. Don't skip. Another gentle realization is waiting just ahead. Not long ago, someone casually mentioned that people often chase an image instead of a connection. It was an ordinary conversation, one that most people would forget before the day was over. But those words stayed with them. For reasons they couldn't fully explain, your face appeared in their mind the moment they heard them. They became unusually quiet. Not because they felt confused. Because they suddenly understood something they had been trying to ignore. They had spent far too much time comparing an imagined ideal with a real person who had already brought more peace into their life than anyone else. That realization lingered long after the conversation ended. It followed them home. It stayed with them through the evening. And before they fell asleep, they whispered something only their own heart could hear. I don't want to lose someone this meaningful over expectations that no longer matter. That simple admission became the beginning of something new. Something important is waiting for you. Since that day, they have started paying attention to different things. They notice how naturally you encourage others. How you remain thoughtful even when no one is watching. How your smile reaches your eyes when something genuinely makes you happy. How your presence has a way of making ordinary moments feel lighter. Those qualities have become impossible to overlook. Without realizing it, they have started associating your appearance with every beautiful feeling you awaken inside them. Now, whenever they picture you, they don't separate your appearance from your heart. To them, they have become one. That is the quiet miracle of authentic affection. It doesn't erase uniqueness. It embraces it. Stay till the end. There is one memory they have never shared. Sometimes, when they think no one is paying attention, they find themselves smiling over something incredibly simple. Perhaps the way you brushed your hair back during a conversation. Perhaps the thoughtful expression on your face while listening. Perhaps the gentle confidence with which you carried yourself without trying to impress anyone. Those little moments have become treasures they quietly revisit. Not because they are extraordinary to the world. Because they are extraordinary to them. Every time those memories return, they feel less attached to who they thought they wanted. And more grateful for who they have actually found. The contrast is impossible to ignore now. There was a version of them that searched for perfection. There is another version of them that searches only for sincerity. You helped create that second version without ever realizing it. Don't look away just yet. One final realization is beginning to rise inside them. They have started imagining what they would say if they were completely honest. Not polished words. Not rehearsed sentences. Just the truth. They would tell you that they almost allowed expectations to distract them from someone whose heart has become deeply important to them. They would tell you that getting to know you changed more than their feelings. It changed the way they define beauty itself. They would tell you that what once seemed unfamiliar has become something they cannot imagine separating from the person they have come to admire. Because now, when they picture your smile, that unique part of your appearance belongs there. When they remember your kindness, it belongs there too. When they think about the future, they cannot imagine your face any other way. That quiet acceptance has become complete. Not because time forced it. Because love patiently revealed what comparison could never understand. And perhaps the most beautiful part is this. They are no longer hoping you become closer to the image they once imagined. Instead, they find themselves hoping they become the kind of person who deserves the trust, warmth, and authenticity you have already been offering all along. That hope is growing stronger every day. Soon, it will become more than an unspoken feeling. It will become a choice. A quiet, sincere choice that has nothing to do with appearances anymore. And everything to do with the remarkable person they now see whenever they look at you.